And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. Ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. Ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. Ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. Talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket.
All right. Welcome to another show of Head to Head with Brian Parker. I am he, and I am in the house today representing those West Charlotte Lions class of 92.
Yay!
Yay! Thank you for tuning in. I'll talk about that in just a second, but thank you for tuning in to Head with Brian Parker. We are coming to you live and direct from North Carolina, and we are streaming to you on LinkedIn, YouTube, as well as Facebook. Our show also appears on our network, the Empower TV network, which is available on Roku and Amazon Fire TV. So you have plenty of options to be able to view the show. And please like, share, and subscribe. We are definitely appreciative of you giving us your time. And hopefully you find it enjoyable and you will contribute to the conversation. Yeah.
Please do.
Yeah, I think your mic is making some little crickly noise, or your headphone. I don't know what that is.
Really?
Anyway.
One?
Yeah.
How about now?
A little bit.
Oh, you know what? You probably hear me chewing.
No, and I don't hear the. Anyway,
okay.
It just died down a little bit, so maybe it's the movement or something. Sometimes it's interference with the wires and stuff. I think.
Okay.
I used to have
Just
my
let me
lights.
know.
My lights used to do that sometimes too. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, it ain't you chewing. So anywho's, as I mentioned before, and some of our other guests will probably pop in very shortly. But our high school, West Charlotte. Oh yeah, that's crippling a lot now. Let me see if I do this, does it go away? Yeah, if I mute you out, then it totally goes away. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So anyway, our high school, West Charlotte High School, one of the oldest schools here in Charlotte, is actually being torn down. Yep, there it is. It's actually being torn down, and they're building a brand new school right next to it on the same piece of land. And they're going to tear down the older buildings and turn it into recreation fields and parking. So it's bittersweet because it's been there since 1954. And yeah, it's old, but it's our school. And this past weekend, we had our Lion Pride Day that featured classes from, I saw some as far back as 1966. So it was a very, very bittersweet day to be able to walk through the campus again before they tear it down. The new class of 2020 that's coming in will be the first class into the new building, and they'll go ahead and demolish the building that we're in. So all of the different classes got together. I must say, I must give props to the class of 1992. We showed out. We did our thing. All the other classes were there too. And of course, I'm biased, and that's okay. But I'm just going to tell you, 92 represented. But it was really cool. We had Vi Lyles, the mayor of Charlotte, come out. A lot of politicians, because, of course, they're campaigning and they want your vote and stuff like that. It's okay. It's good. They came out, said what they had to say, kept it moving. A lot of good food, a lot of good memories and things like that. So it was really, really a good time for everybody just to kind of be able to get back together and, show that Lion pride. Now, CJ, I can only guess that you probably went to Garinger. You did. Okay, so that totally explains it because we just used to whoop their ass all the time. So totally makes sense that you would say, "Yay, gotcha." It would only come from a Garringer Wildcat, whose team is still like 0 for 165 in their last football games. But I'm just saying, the one thing that you can say about West Charlotte is that whether the football team was good or not, and most of the times they were, people came out to Dub C to see the band. It was always about how the band was going to turn out, either at halftime of a game or at the end of a parade. You already knew that them Lions was going to represent. And speaking of which, I wasn't the only Lion in my family. My mom was class of 70. I was class of 92. And oh, by the way, I think somebody was a class of 94. You know. Oh, let me open it up and welcome. There we go. Let's welcome Mr. CJ Jones. How you doing, sir?
What's up, my kitty cats? What's up? Hey, look, I have never hated on West Charlotte. That's my old stomping grounds. I actually was emotional when my mother and dad told me and my siblings that we were not going to be West Charlotte Lions, that we were going to be Garringer Wildcats, because my whole entire family line are all West Charlotte.
Wow.
Everybody. Wow. All of my uncles, all of my aunts, my mom and my dad. Like I said, I grew up in University Park. I told y'all that. I thought I was gonna be a West Charlotte Lion.
And well, the funny thing is, Jermaine and I got bussed over there because we lived all the way off of Old Concord Road and W.T. Harris.
Yeah, so y'all should be Wildcats.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the very opposite happened for me and my two older sisters.
We got bussed over there. I do want to say hello to the franchise, but I want to make sure that I do read Sarah Parker's comment. Class of 70 is the last black class at West Charlotte. All black class, rather.
Yeah, that's very significant.
And of course, she chimed in with Dub C. Anyway, and let me go ahead and bring in our other guest. It's Lori Parker. How you doing, Lori?
I'm doing well. How are you all?
You know.
Dub C.
That's right. She's drinking the Kool-Aid. And
okay. That's what it is. Okay.
Oh, definitely. Oh, yeah. She get put out around here for that,
But it's always been about the band, bro.
Right.
Not so much the sports. Never really was interested in the sports that much, but it was always the band. And it was because of y'all. It was because of y'all band director. That joker, he knew what he was doing.
But
everybody was envious.
But see, you're right. Everybody else, it was because of the band. For us that went there, no, it was definitely the sports too, because we always won. We were walking into the gym and look up at all the banners of all of the conference Sweet 16s and the conference championships and the Charlotte Observer this and all of that and the state championships, whether it was basketball, football, volleyball, it didn't matter. If it was a ball and it was a West Charlotte Lion involved in it, there was a 89% chance we were going to walk away with the chip. That's just how it was.
That's reality.
And I mean, I would say all the way through the 90s, it was pretty much like that. Like kids would literally move in with their grandma if it meant that zip code would get them to West Charlotte.
Don't say that out. Okay, now they already fixed that problem.
Yeah. I mean, but that used to be the thing. That's how Coach
that used to be the thing.
Would always get players that would stay all the way on the other side of town, move in with your grandmama. So that could be your residence, and now you can go to West Charlotte, and that's how they would get them. And we maintained that dominance for a very long time. We produced a lot of NBA players, NFL players. So I'm very, very happy about the rich history. But before I go on, let me say hello to the franchise, Mr. Jermaine Parker. How you doing, sir?
Man, you know it, baby. Doing well. Happy to be here.
There you go. Happy to have you. Happy to have all of you. Just letting the audience know that we are streaming live on Facebook, Instagram. I always say Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Man, I'm gonna have to get Instagram up because I always say it by mistake. And then again, we are also on Roku as well as Amazon Fire TV. So catch the show, like the show. If you're watching the show for the first time, please submit your comments. If you're watching it as a replay, please comment. We'll still see the comments and reply back. So thank you again for joining. We've been talking a lot about religion mixed into politics, and more so than not, a lot of times, Christianity. And before I get started, CJ has a show. What's up, Woody Mac is watching. CJ has a show called Elephant Exposed. If you didn't know, it's above his head. CJ, when can people catch the show, or where can they catch your show?
Can always catch me on YouTube. Just look up my name on YouTube, CJ Jones or Elephant Exposed. It doesn't matter, either one of the two. You'll see my ugly mug, and you hit that notification bell, and you'll know every time I put up something new. What up, Woody?
Well, good job.
Yeah. And I appreciate, and bouncing back to you, Brian, I really appreciate you supporting me in my last episode. Actually, that one got kind of very interesting. The banter back and forth and everything. I like it. I do. Like I said, we don't always have to agree. We don't always have to lie.
No. Well, it was funny because when I saw your title, the first thing I said when I saw your title was, "Uh-oh."
I meant to.
And then I said,
to. Yeah.
And I said, "Oh shit, here we go."
Yeah. I got you.
The title, because I think the title of your show, I don't want to misquote it, but it was something about a viewpoint of a traditional male or something.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And some of it was based on some comments that Cam Newton had inartfully made and taken out of somewhat of context.
Right.
And one of your responders, I guess, had an issue with what I said, but I had an issue with what he said in the fact that his comment was more of Cam Newton needed to focus more on football.
Like shut up and dribble. Yeah. When I caught that, I was like, oh boy, here we go.
And I mean, as soon as he said that, all I could envision was Laura Ingraham trying to tell LeBron James to shut up and dribble. Every time an African American has a viewpoint that's outside of their sport, there's a certain element of folks that think, well, you're an athlete, you get paid to entertain me. I don't want to know your political views or what you view, how you view about any. And it wasn't even a political view.
It wasn't.
Cam Newton just basically stated, because he was on the podcast.
Yeah.
Somebody said, well, what kind of women you prefer? And he started talking about boss bitches and all this other kind of stuff.
Right.
And he was like, okay, you can be all of that, but can you cook? Right. He says, can you be quiet?
Right.
And all the feminists started, hair on fire feminist thing. And like Cam Newton was saying that women need to be barefoot and pregnant or two places in the house, the kitchen and the bedroom. It's not what he said. It's not what he said.
Exactly.
But what people have to understand, and the main issue exception that I took with the premise of the show was, what is traditional? Yeah. Because when you say any traditional anything, it's based on there's a root to that. Okay. And when we discuss that root, every plant don't grow from the same roots, the same soil, the same field. So what may be traditional for one person may not be how somebody else's traditions lie. So what Cam was speaking about was from his point of view, the way he grew up and he was raised and he saw his mom and his dad. It frames how he thinks a woman should be. He wants a woman that can cook, that does know how to be quiet sometimes. It's not that he's saying that you just shut up and you don't say anything. Right. But see, Cam a lot of times likes to throw around a lot of big words. but he's really good. He's really good with word salads. Like he'll throw
Right.
around a lot of words, but sometimes he don't put them in the right order.
Right.
But you know what he means.
And that's why I was trying to put it in perspective.
Yeah, and you did.
And that's
and you did.
again, what I did. I know I clickbaited in my title. That was purposeful. However, my main focus was to try to remind people as a whole, but especially for my LGBTQ, QIA, the feminists, the beta males that had something to say. That man has a right to have preferences, his opinions, and everything else, just like you and I. And we are all protected under the First Amendment right of the United States Constitution. That was my main premise.
Well, maybe not for long, but as of today, that is true. I don't know how much.
Yeah, I know you're going with that.
So, and that's why your subject kind of struck a chord, because it was really somewhat running a parallel course with, where I was going today about the abortion of abortion.
Right.
Which, that would be good clickbait too, wouldn't it?
Abortion of abortion?
Aborting abortion?
Aborting abortion?
Yeah. How about
you want me to do that?
No.
I'll do it.
It was already the title. That was already the title. Already did. But it's actually true because, and really, we're going to talk about that, but I really want to open it up to you guys too, because this is a slippery slope. And again, a lot of people that disagree with abortion do it from the said perspective.
Thank you.
Of it goes against my Christian beliefs. Or I have a moral issue with it. For anybody out there that does not agree with abortion, my suggestion to you sincerely is don't get an abortion.
Kind of like the whole sex thing with condoms versus abstinence and many other can of worms we can open up.
Well, same thing with homosexuality. If you're a grown ass man and you don't believe that other dudes should be with other dudes, my suggestion to you is date women.
Don't participate.
That's basically the advice I would give you. But what I would not tell you or suggest that you do or tell you that you have a right to do is to tell other people that your religion or your convictions of your religion are leading you to be in public office and to come up with policies and legislation that frowns upon that. In one hand, you're a constitutionalist and you'll say, but Brian, there is freedom of religion. And I'll sit there and point out all these laws where I don't really believe that's true. I'm free to worship however I want to worship, as long as it ain't anywhere near confines. You. Yeah, as long as it ain't anywhere near you.
Right.
And see, here's my problem. Christians are supposed to go out and be a light to others and draw people to the Christian faith.
All right.
But your lack of tolerance, and I'm speaking to the Christians, your lack of tolerance, your inflexibility, your lack of loving people as God loved you in your sin and in your muck and mire, your lack of that is not being a light to anyone. Your infringement on the way that other people choose to live their lives is not a light, nor does it encourage anybody to want to become a Christian. So everything that you're supposed to be doing when you do those things, or you're trying to tell everybody that they're going to burn in hell and all that kind of stuff, that is doing the exact opposite of what you were charged to do as a Christian. I'll open it up because I can go all day long with that. Y'all just go ahead and take it. And
since I am the Christian on the panel that actually claims it out loud, you are absolutely right, my brother. See the whole thing. I said out loud. Okay, so I haven't known for anyone else to claim Christianity out loud on the panel.
Okay, go ahead. No, you're good. You're good.
No, all right. No, I just saw Lori's face.
It's an interesting one. I've seen it for a
Right.
while.
Nah,
There's
I'm
something
just
there. I
saying.
tell you.
Okay, so let me be the first one to say that. Okay,
Okay.
I'm not offended. The whole point of criticisms like the one that you gave, as long as it lines up with the truth, I mean, you got to amen to it, bro. I mean, because that's always been my issue with my very own faith line. A lot of people get religion mixed up with lifestyle. And what they have done is that they have politicized the faith and so long and have perverted everything. And this is what you get. You get people turning away from it instead of being drawn to it, sending everybody to hell and beating them up, but then they're not checking themselves about how they live it. And then now you want to throw law into it, and then you want to sprinkle that in there too. I have an issue with that. Like I've said, like I've said on your panel many times before, addressing many other issues. I don't have a heaven or hell to put you in. I'm just worried about CJ. And that's what it's about. It is called a personal walk. So yes, the government is wrong. They are dead wrong. Always have been wrong with trying to mix law and then trying to hide behind this quasi religion of Christianity as a reason to say that they really want to control women, women's bodies, and women's decisions. I'm sorry, you're dead wrong. And that's just my point.
Lori?
Well, as the woman on the panel, hello.
How you doing?
How you doing? For you, I saw a meme that was great that I saw on Facebook, and it's just like, if you want to sit here and control whether I decide to have an abortion or my freedom of my choice, and especially my reproductive health, you know, I think it then falls on to, well, then are we not giving anything onto the man side? Because I can't get pregnant by myself. I mean, I could if I intended myself.
If you believe in Christianity, you do believe that there's such thing as immaculate conception. But go on.
Well, you know, as a Catholic,
you don't even need a man to get pregnant, because
no, you don't. Not immaculate conception, especially you know with Mary.
Yeah,
but
there's spirits can impregnate you.
Right. But there's no onus, and you know these laws are really scary because it really doesn't affect. And even if you're going into from the, you know, and adding in religion, it doesn't affect a woman who has money or affluence. They'll be able to still, even if it's banned in their particular state, they will still be able to have that choice. It just affects women that are poor, that don't have resources, and that are going to be able to then now be faced with that choice that you want to sit here and to have a baby. But once you have that baby, but then you'll get the stigma that they're on welfare and you can't take care of your kids. You can't do anything else.
Stereotyping.
Jermaine?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
No, I was opening it up. But, you know, how are you? Okay, so, you know, we've got, everything is going crazy right now because of the leaked opinion of a supposed majority. That was confirmed by Justice Roberts that it is authentic, yet he says it's not necessarily final.
Yeah.
And hold on, let me go ahead and read. Yes. Sarah Parker says, not claimed it out loud. I declare that I am a servant of Jesus Christ, sharing the gospel. Hallelujah. But now, going back to what I said. So there was a leaked document, which has been like unprecedented, that something from the Supreme Court like that would get out to the public before a decision was made. There have been several challenges lately to the Supreme Court about the constitutionality of abortion. Every Supreme Court justice nominee candidate always in front of the Senate gets asked a question about their view, their stance on Roe versus Wade, which was the decision that made abortion a constitutional right for almost the last 50 years. And it has always been seen, though, as a political tool to get those on the right to consistently try to vote for conservative Congress folks, senators, presidents that would at some point take down, in their opinion, this inhumane, horrible, immoral law. Now, here's the thing. There are several states that have abortion laws on the books. Their problem is that the Supreme Court has basically frozen all of those laws. And what that means is if ever a day came where the Supreme Court said, you know what, states, it's all on you again, a lot of those laws would trigger right back. The only thing keeping those laws from being enacted upon is this long-held precedent from the Supreme Court to say, you know what, this is a constitutional right. Well, in this leaked opinion written by
Alito,
he basically says that abortion protection is not in the Constitution. But if that's your argument, well, there's a lot of things that are in the Constitution. And if we go back to that, this program won't be running because I'm not a human being. I'm an animal. Lori can't vote.
yes.
There are a lot of things. So all the people that are LGBTQIA, when you start talking about gay rights and things like that, they should be worried. Women, you should be worried because they want you to be breeders, not people.
Yep.
There are a lot of things that were not foreseen in the Constitution. That does not mean that because we have evolved since the Constitution, that the Constitution can't evolve with us.
Right.
But there are folks that believe, like Alito said, and thank you, Chad, you're absolutely right. The Constitution was designed to be amended. It was a living document, meaning that it will change over time. We as a people, hopefully, have changed over time. You know, nobody still, says, well, you know, when the Constitution was written, there was slavery. Okay, that's fine, bro. But try to get you some slaves right now in America and see how that work out for you. Because I ain't going back without a fight. I can tell you that much right now. You're going to get Will Smith to death if you try to do that. But there's a lot of things that the Constitution was basically a foundation.
That's all it was.
If anybody has ever had a house, you have a foundation, but you build your house on that foundation. And sometimes you might remodel your house, but it doesn't mean that you crack open the foundation when you remodel your house. And it doesn't mean that that foundation is any less sturdy. It just means that you may have started building things on it and you decided, you know what? I need it to evolve. I need to make it better. It doesn't mean that the foundation wasn't a good starting point, but nobody just lives on a slab. You always are building on top of something, and it doesn't desecrate the foundation. It just gives you a good starting point.
But all of these laws that they're trying to enact and try to go back to, I guess, the good old times, is just bringing the country back. And it's like, you're not progressing and you're going back to the dark ages. But you keep saying America first. And America's number one.
I know where your rate is going.
You are just going back to these antiquated thoughts. And I was like, are we going to start with the horse and buggy? Because I'm like, we don't need gas no more.
No. They're not trying to go back like that, Lori. And I don't want to.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, they are.
Because I want
to. They would prefer. I'm just as a woman to. I'm just bearing children. That's all I do.
No. That part is true. You're a breeder. But Jermaine, I'm gonna go ahead and let you go because I know what you're going to say on that because I was right there with you. That they want to go back because at that point America was less browner. There were less freedoms for people that did not look like them. So when they say make America great again, it was great because we were in charge. We didn't have to worry about no black presidents. We didn't have to worry about seeing two dudes kissing out in public. We ain't have to worry about June being a Pride Month or a Black History Month or celebrating Martin Luther King and worried about my kids being friends with gay people at school and becoming woke, or them getting offended because some Black guy got killed because a guy left his knee on his neck too long. Big deal. Get over it. It's all, they want to go back to that, Lori. That's exactly it. They really do, because what they see is, if you've ever seen, like, you see something and you go, man, if it keep going that way, it's just going to keep getting out of control. That's how they look at America right now. America's out of control. It was better in the other days when we could put our thumb on the scale a little bit more, but now we got to be politically correct. We can't say certain things no more. The borders are all opened up. People coming in and taking your jobs and all of this and that. And they want that control back, Lori. Jermaine, please go ahead, because I don't want to deflate the air out your balloon, but please go for it, bro.
Yeah, thanks for letting me talk.
But I felt you.
Well, I mean, so luckily for me, I have so much to say, right? And I'm going to try to be quick and orderly about it, right?
Do it. Go for it.
And so, man, I'm like Bell DeVoe and New Edition stuff. I like to play the greatest hits. And so my greatest hits is, this is all based on white supremacy.
Yes.
And so it really is, because one of the reasons, or at least one of the supposed reasons, because that's the quiet part not said out loud, is that the reason that abortions are a bad thing is because of population, right? And so there's population concerns, and the way the population is currently projected, whites will be a minority in some years to come and stuff. And so that is one of the reasons put forth by some academics and some conspiracy theorists, that the reason the issue is so pressing, because in terms of popularity, like 80% of the country believes that women should have a right to an abortion and stuff. So why would such an unpopular thing? And notice that no Republicans are running the victory lap about this thing, because they know how unpopular it is, and what they're going to do is this. Even though Mitch McConnell has had so much to do with the way that the Supreme Court is now split 6-3, and this is really his architecture and his fingerprints all over stuff. He and most conservatives, to include their news outlets, are focusing on the leak part of it. Like, well, who leaked this thing? Because there's some respect.
Oh, you freezing up on this.
Which is funny because. Oh, am I back?
Yeah, I think so.
Am I back?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. One of the things that when we talk about Roe versus Wade, what it was is that it was one of the things is that you're allowed as an American citizen to privacy. And so those decisions, those personal decisions inside of your house, aren't the government's business. And so it's ironic that a Supreme Court justice would now be upset about his own privacy, or the privacy of the court, and how unjustified that is that somebody would know what was going on within their house. But is trying to take away.
He froze up again.
Yeah, I apologize. I might have to come up. My Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi is acting kind of funny.
Okay.
But I apologize. My Wi-Fi is acting funny. But what I was trying to say before, and I think it's a white dude that's cut my internet out. But
it could be.
There's a strange van with an antenna that keeps driving up and down my street.
Damn you, Zuckerberg.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm gonna write a book. I don't care what I gotta do. I'm gonna get it out.
There's a black unmarked Sprinter van just outside your residence.
Not the Sprinter van.
But I do think it's ironic that a court would be worried about their privacy as they try to deny the privacy of ordinary citizens.
Very good point.
I think that's ironic. And when I talk about, but again, this all goes back to Make America Great Again. What is tradition? And so, to your point, Lori, traditionally, and let me sneak this in here too. Why do we see in elections that suburban white women vote against their own self-interest? Well, this is all a history lesson, right? Because women didn't have the right to vote. They couldn't own property and stuff. This whole marriage thing, and then we go back to Cam Newton about what tradition is and marriage stuff and where that comes from and what those roles are and stuff. And I will say, just on the side note, I agree with Cam. I agree that a lot of people should get married because they're not entering into what marriage is or what marriage was. And quite honestly, the benefit to marriage for a man was to make sure his progeny were his rightful heirs to his property. And
right.
That, through marriage, he could guarantee that his wife wasn't being promiscuous, and therefore his inheritance, his money, his stuff went to his heirs. For women, there was safety in marriage because they could not vote, they could not own land, they could not have their own bank account, they could not do all these things, right? And so in order to gain those things, you went with your husband, and you voted with your husband because his rights were better than your rights anyway, as long as you were covered under that veil. Right. Of marriage and stuff. It didn't matter if you were voting your rights away because, again, as my sister said, if you were affluent enough, those rules didn't matter to you anyway.
Because you were going to be okay.
You're going to be okay. You would be taken care of. You didn't have to worry about your husband having a side chick because, as we know, the GOP or white supremacists in general who pretend under the guise of Christianity, because I'm going to wrap all this in together, right? Like to profess how saintly they are and stuff, and they'll be first ones to have somebody that gets an abortion after they've been anti-abortion all this time. But they understood that it wasn't a good deal for them, again, because they understand the sanctity of marriage and stuff, and so that abortion was needed. Spend it any way you want to and stuff. It is important to look at the past in order to be informed about your future and stuff. That's why when they were having the confirmation hearings, you heard different senators asking about Roe versus Wade.
Right.
And they lied because that's all they did. They lied and said, no, it was settled law, it was settled law, it was settled law. And that's why during Kavanaugh's Senate hearing, then Senator Harris asked him about, did he know about any laws that regulated a man's body? And, he faint like, well, it was such a broad question. There's so many laws out there, but he knew that there were no laws. We all know there are no laws and stuff that control a man's body. So why are there laws that control women's bodies? Again, it goes back. And when people say make America great again, if you were to give a black person a time machine and said you can go back any time in American history, where would you want to go? Well, there's nowhere. There's nowhere in American history where a black person would get out of that time machine and get lynched, right? And so, and you'd be a witch, right? You're a witch. They'd be all kind of the heads that dispose by see you get out stuff and some gators. But I assume you time traveling gators. But
I would
be and a fedora. And a fedora,
or some nice Stacey Adams. I gotta admit, yeah.
Got to have my wingtips, bro. Got to have my wingtips.
Not to, yes.
I'm saying we gonna get dressed. But
I'm a drip. I'm a drip before I start dripping in blood. But I'm a drip.
That's right.
Well, that's one of the main reasons why they end up getting lynched, because we look better in their clothes than what they did. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
And so history again, history. So they've been trying to overturn this for more than a quarter century, right? Actively, really trying hard through the makeups of the benches in the last 30 years. Which I didn't realize that Clarence Thomas is like the senior on there because he's been on there for like 30 years now, one of the senior justices. But when you look back to where traditional families and traditional roles and stuff like that, women didn't have autonomy over their bodies and stuff. It wasn't until the 50s, 60s, you could still rape your wife.
I want to say it was the 50s.
Yeah. And you can still rape your wife, right? And so we talk about no autonomy and no say and stuff. But the big thing is that the GOP for a very long time kept creeping up to the line and kept telling everybody they wouldn't do anything, and everybody would look at them, and it was like freeze tags, the freeze tag or whatever. How you see, he's like, hey, freeze, and they would freeze, and then you look away, they start moving again, and it's like, hey, y'all coming over here? Nah. Well, finally, they got all the way up and they touched the guy, and it's their turn. The amazing thing is that whether they're in power or out of power, they still get their agendas moved, which the Democrats could learn a whole lot about that and stop being so fearful, because, again, 80% of people are okay with abortion, and they're still turning it back because they don't care what you care about. It's all about what they care about. It's a very minority. They want to say they're the majority in terms of voice and stuff, but most people just don't feel the way that they feel about those things. And if they don't feel that way, they create boogeymen. I thought it was interesting that one of the first things that one of our allies said on Twitter was, wait till one of these GOP senators get a daughter get raped by a black man, and let's see how they feel about abortion. And I was like, yeah, you're not helping.
I mean, even if you look at Clarence Thomas and his wife, like, he couldn't marry his wife.
Where my pearls at?
And quite honestly,
if he lived in Virginia,
I'd turn back interracial dating too. I didn't
turn it back.
And that was what, you know what,
Jermaine,
Jermaine, to what you're saying right now, I was going to hold that for my final thought, but you just said it. Because if you're going to turn back one thing, you might as well keep on turning everything else.
Well, I would say this. I think there are a lot of people who are saying, yes, they could potentially turn back a lot of things. You know, they might go back and reconsider Dred Scott. They might go back. I mean, there's lots of case law out there that was set a law that if they're willing to turn back these things, and on the premise against history and stuff, is that everything states' rights, right? Is there? Well, we're not saying it's illegal. We're just saying
that it's up to the states, because what they're basically saying is, well, the states are closer to their own constituents, and they represent their constituents. And if the majority of the constituents in the state of Kansas believe that abortion is illegal, it should not be, then Kansas should have that right. You know, I remember a war kind of starting because a couple of states thought one way and a couple of states thought another way about slavery.
You're not talking about no civil war or nothing like that, are you? We ain't talking about no.
Is that what that was?
We're not talking about no insurrection.
No. See, it wasn't a civil war, because that was about pride, not prejudice.
Oh no, that's about Southern heritage, I believe.
Yeah. That was about statues and shit. They ain't had nothing to do with no slavery. Those statues.
I mean, go ahead, Jermaine.
No, I was just going to say real quick that there are certain things that are, and they're right, and I will agree that they're right in terms of there are certain laws that should be local and locally decided and stuff.
Correct.
But there are some things when we talk about human rights, because that's what we're talking about. Human rights aren't local issues. Human rights are national issues.
Right.
And so you can't confuse those things and say it is now okay for individuals or individual states to have a say on this thing, and because what prevents Texas, because Texas is going to be number one, right? What prevents Texas from saying if anybody that lives in Texas goes to a state that allows it? I mean, it's like when we talk about not interracial, gay marriage and stuff. You know, so how when that was coming along, you could go to this state, but you couldn't be recognized in this state. So people are leaving their states, going to get married, trying to come back and get insurance and stuff. Well, we don't recognize that here. And so what's the validity of that, or what are the consequences of that? And really the justices are cowards trying to hide behind such a see-through excuse of why they're trying to overturn it. It's just.
I mean, but sorry, before Lori jumps in, but isn't that the craziest thing? You're in a position for life. You're safer than anybody.
Right.
I mean, hell, they can't get rid of you because you police yourselves, basically.
Mm-hmm.
for them to even think about impeaching you, it would take 60 senators to even agree to do it. You can't get 60 senators to agree that it's May.
Well, this is about debts owed, right? Like, has Kavanaugh, his mortgage go away and his financial debts go away before he gets confirmed and stuff, because somebody paid him off, right?
Correct.
So, but they knew that he was compromised, and they knew they knew to compromise him, right? The interesting thing about that side of the aisle is that these are the same people who said during a pandemic, you can't tell me what to do with my face. You can't tell me during a pandemic to put a mask over my face because you're violating my freedoms and stuff. However, I can tell you to do with your uterus and stuff. And so the inconsistency, and this is a problem because all politicians are just a different animal, right? All politicians lie. All politicians not compromise, they fold, right? And they stand in line and stuff because power is exhilarating, and people will do anything to stay in power. And so but that's my white supremacy thing. You say, well, how's that white supremacy and stuff? Because that's the power that's leading that and put this stuff in place. Because you're right. This may be a trial run where we start here and we go, well, you know what? Again, if this state, if Kansas doesn't want gay marriage or interracial marriage, they should be able to say that. They shouldn't. That's not what they want in their communities, right? Because there's so much history to get into why this one thing turns into this other thing, and I hesitate to try to even get into it. You can kind of take my word for it that this is jacked up, but it's jacked up. It's planned this way. This is not accidental.
No, it's definitely not accidental.
Yeah. Go ahead,
Lori.
No, I was looking at the comment and I was just trying to gather my thoughts on the comment from Tarot Destroyer, which was brought up. It said it would be nice if Black mothers would stop contracting with abortionists. As it stands now, 474 out of 1,000 Black pregnancies end with pre-birth vivisection and decapitation. Again, she then quotes Hillary Clinton and Martin Luther King. So I just say this, and I guess I was making on the comment going on toward on abortion, because I wanted to bring up that actually in the state of Louisiana, they are thinking about passing a law where as abortion is going to be considered a homicide under the state's law as we go. But I don't think that any Black or any person of color is actually working with an abortionist. It's really a factor and a fact about your reproductive health. And if that includes if you are raped, if you choose not to have a child or anything else, I think what you're doing is that abortionists are not supporting any type of genocide or anything and destroying the Black people. It's a matter of choice, and it still needs to be able to be upheld. And again, by this ruling being leaked out about it, it's just destroying your choice to where your health, if you have a pregnancy, and let's say that the choice is if you're pregnant and then maybe something is going wrong and the mother dies, that holds on you depending on what state you live in.
Well, so a couple things. Voting is important. Elections matter because of consequences.
Yes, voting is absolutely.
In terms of murder and stuff, how far do you go with that? If you catch somebody jacking off, is there a mass murder? Do men get incarcerated for years? What are you in for? I killed a million people.
Well, that's a good. Jermaine, before you go even further, that's a good point, because there's a lot of people that say that viability starts at conception.
Yes.
So if I'm sitting there whacking off somewhere and just spreading my seeds into the toilet, did I just potentially end some life?
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
About a million. About a million. That would make you.
Didn't I flush some life down the toilet?
Actually, in the definition of murdering and killing, because there's a certain number you become like a serial killer. Then after a while, we start recognizing you as a
Well,
conqueror.
that make you a killer, boy. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah. And so, like after so many thousands, you are a conqueror. So, I mean, it all depends on.
I'm an
It all
emperor.
depends on the numbers. You know what I'm saying?
Oh boy.
I done lined them up and shot them down, so I don't know what to tell you.
So,
yeah,
it's at least one crime that Madison Cawthorn Hawthorne won't be accused of.
we're not doing Madison Cawthorn jokes this week.
Oh, sorry.
I'm gonna roll right away from that.
No, well, I was planning on doing a little bit of stand up.
Oh boy.
I almost lost my screen.
Are we doing this again? Are we gonna do it again?
No,
Are we gonna do it again?
No, I'll walk out before that happens.
Well, I'm gonna roll right up to it.
Look, you're gonna have people protesting. There's gonna be a sit-in.
And
I was wondering what happened to Parking Shop.
Oh boy! Wow, we got some trolls on YouTube today.
Oh yes, especially Paula Berlinski says the four of you are the sludge at the bottom of a septic tank. May your evil souls be shredded.
Right.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Paula, we would love to have you on the show.
Have you come on and at least speak with us?
Yeah, please email us at deepparkermedia@gmail.com so we can send you a link to the show. We would love to have you on.
No one's going to talk to sludge. Look, first of all,
we are not sludge ever.
Where are my pearls? I'm missing my pearls, man.
Yeah, I know. Look, and so, and I always tell people, I said, look, you are free to disagree with me, like I'm free to disagree with you, and that's kind of what makes this country great, is that we're free to do that. I would go out on a limb and say that my 25 years of military service would beat whatever service that young man has done for the country and stuff. But whatever.
Wait a minute.
Sure, I'm the bottom of the barrel.
Wait a minute. I think our show has reached a new, since we now have trolls, because then they say that we giggle like hyenas. But hey, again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
I enjoy my life, and I don't fetishize my.
I have a lot to laugh about.
Yeah,
especially about people like that.
Yeah,
I mean, isn't it ironic, Jermaine, that we actually fought for these nut jobs to express themselves in the way that they do? So they would have the very freedom to come on our show and troll us.
Yeah,
that's what we fought for.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. God bless you.
Yeah. Thank you for the viewership, because that really does help my analytics at the end of the month. So I appreciate it. Keep them coming. Little comments. All comments are good comments. Ty, you made it.
Thank you, Ty. Yes, we did. We made it.
Ty, Ty made it over to across the pond. I saw some nice little pictures of him in England and everything. We gotta get Ty back on at some point, because last time we had Ty on, we were talking about COVID and everything, and it's not gone anywhere. I mean, we've kind of acted like it's kind of in the rearview mirror and everything, but it's still out there. So, Ty, anytime you want to come back on and give us an update. I know we just hit a million dead from the pandemic. That's still something to still think about. We're still looking for FDA approval for young kids and folks like that, and things are opening back up, but definitely would love to do that. Or if there's anything else you want to come on and talk about, Ty, we don't think you just our COVID whisperer, but we definitely do appreciate all the stuff that you have. And
you know what
Parker says, according to scriptures, that is sin. Okay, so Sarah,
the jokes about Madison.
Are you talking about masturbation? Is that what you're talking about as a sin?
Yes. She is. Yes.
Is she?
Yes, she is.
Okay,
yeah.
so let me approach.
Where's that at, by the way? Can you quote what it is?
I've heard.
Yeah, it's not in there.
No,
I
doesn't.
no, I see it, and I mean, again, I'm not.
Wow.
But God, blessings to you and for where you are in your life. And if that's what you feel like you need to call me, absolutely.
That's terrible.
Because you're watching.
Are you
me.
getting called that? I said I can't see the comments.
No, the tarot destroyer was saying how that we were like baby killers and that I'm a skank.
Oh,
well, she said smile like a skank.
Not smile like one, but like hey.
Because quite honestly,
you.
I'm the most boisterous, and if there's anybody with a fetish towards educated black man talking about how this country is racist, I'm kind of offended I didn't get the same comment.
Okay. So she did clarify to spill your seeds.
Yeah.
Yeah, where's that at?
Yeah,
I will find it for you, Jermaine. I will find it for you.
Okay.
And
I don't say that because there's a lot of Christians who are really bad at being Christians, like a lot of cops are being bad at being cops and stuff, because they don't actually read their Bibles, and there are a lot of things they assume. I've heard so many things that, that's in the Bible, and it's nowhere in the Bible. Somebody said it, and it's just been passed along.
And that's why we have to study to show ourselves approved, Jay. I got you.
But here's the other thing with that. Everybody doesn't read the Bible. Everybody's not a Christian.
Yeah.
Telling somebody telling a Muslim what's in the Bible doesn't mean anything to them.
Exactly.
If that's what you believe, that's fine. Don't jack off. It's just like abortion. That's my whole point with abortion. If you think it's wrong, don't do it. If you think homosexuality is an abomination and it will drive you to the pits of hell, then marry somebody of the opposite sex. But because somebody else makes a choice of their own lifestyle, it's not infringing upon you. If anything, because you're trying to put your lifestyle on them, you're the one doing the infringing. If you believe that homosexuality is a sin, yet you cheat on your wife, you are an effing hypocrite. If you believe that smoking is a sin because you're defiling the temple,
right?
But
and that's
you do anything else is listed as one of the under the commandments, which is supposed to be the old covenant anyway. But I don't want to go there. But if you do any of those things, if you've ever stolen, if you've ever sat there and lusted, if you ever sat there and coveted,
any of it.
But yet you're going to sit there and say, but that's not the worst sin. Then you're really telling on yourself. I have boyfriend issues.
I know. I saw that. I try not to laugh.
I do. I want a man
one little quick thing. So it took me 2 minutes to Google is masturbation a sin in the Bible, and masturbation is never mentioned by name in the Bible, which I thought because I'm not gonna give my background, but I would know. So when people say that kind of stuff, like you say now, when I say in 1898 there were some white people in Wilmington, they got mad at voting and stuff, and had an insurrection and ran on people off and overthrew the government and stuff. That's a fact. You can be mad about it. You can be mad about the way my tone and the way I present that information to you. When I talk about Dred versus Scott, when I talk about Tulsa, when I talk about Rosewood, when I talk about how after 1865, how slaves were let out with no promise of anything, and then that's when they came up with vagrancy laws and stuff that said if you didn't have a job, you could go back in slavery. How the 13th Amendment is a backdoor to slavery and stuff, and that's why mass incarceration has grown throughout the 80s and stuff. About the same time that they were still trying to overthrow Roe versus Wade, this movement has had several waves and stuff. Why this is all white supremacy and stuff, you can argue with me about that, but at least I know that masturbation isn't a sin because I've read the Bible. And so, and you can go, well, it's fornication. Well, it's not mentioned by name, so maybe it's in the gray area, and maybe it's not fornication because fornication is between two people. But, technicalities and words mean something kind of thing. What I'm saying is that you can come on here and troll all you want to. It would be better if you actually had some facts to troll.
Oh, my gosh. That's hilarious.
Yeah,
No, it's not you. It's the trolls because it's just the comments because they're just um
Wow.
sitting here and going. But like I said,
Wow.
you're telling me that I'm killing babies. I'm not killing babies.
Oh,
I'm just,
I thought it was the part where they called you a prostitute. I
no,
thought that
I
part
was
was
called a prostitute that I'm killing babies, and killing babies is wrong. I've never
Wow.
killed a baby.
I am purposely trying to get aimed at, and I feel like you guys are slighting me. What is
No,
it about
I
me
get
that
a
you
slight
guys-
I mean,
I'm
yeah,
again
throw
talking
some
about
insults at the
choice.
franchise. The franchise is
I'm
the one.
talking about choice.
It's his
You
show.
can have your opinion. It's about the choice to choose. But calling me a prostitute,
Well,
okay.
well, you know, the whole thing is this. It's not about killing babies. And you know, here's my thing. People talk about killing babies, but then when they're born, then they're more than okay as long as they're black and brown. They could give a damn about whether they live or not.
Absolutely.
They need to be honest.
Or
They're
there's this one.
They're
And that's-
pro-birth, not pro-life. They just want children born.
Born.
They don't care what happens to them afterwards. You're like used car salesman. As long as I can get it off the lot, I don't care what happens afterward and stuff. It can break down on the next block. I don't care.
It's not my problem.
Pro-life.
What they tell you? If it's not on my lot anymore, it's not my problem.
It's not my problem.
And that's how they treat you once you come out of the vagina.
Part of the thing too, and this is, you know, again, academics and conspiracy theories alike have this other thing about why is abortion rights so hot topic for certain groups and stuff. Well, it's also a means to control people and allow them to stay in poverty. Because if somebody as a child makes a mistake and gets pregnant in their teens and stuff, what's the likelihood they pull themselves out? We don't actually talk about it because we don't have like England, we don't have a class system with kings and queens, but we do, right? There is a class system, our middle class, our lower class and stuff. And the fact is, and it's one of the reasons that people are so upset right now, because when I go to the service industry, whether I'm sitting in a restaurant or I'm trying to get my Starbucks or my Bojangles or whatever and stuff, there are not enough people working. Where's my workers at? Where's my working class at? We need poverty because poverty enables people to stay in those meaningless jobs in servitude to the elite section of society and stuff, who drive through their business and stuff, who have attitudes, who for years told people, hey, if you don't like it, minimum wage doesn't have to be more than $7.25 because if you got an education, you wouldn't have to do that. And then when people get education, that the loans are dragging them down, we go, we're going to forgive the loans because that's going to help the economy and stuff. They go, well, I had to pay. You know, this whole country is so much built on the hypocrisy of one messaging to one group, to this is this for this group and stuff. And when we look at the generation back, because of red line and stuff, where minorities couldn't afford houses in different neighborhoods, and they were subjected to usually rural areas, areas that had factories and stuff. If you look, zip codes in different cities will have different life expectancies, and it could be a difference of 15 years because during redlining and stuff, on this side of the track, we built white neighborhoods that were away from the plastic plant, and black neighborhoods got built down there, and those were the only places that we could get loans and stuff. And that has affected our health too. There's this, like I say, when I say there's so much stuff that you can go in, and it's factual. You can talk to me and be like, well, I don't agree. Well, you don't have to agree, but if you could read, you would come to the same conclusions and stuff. And so being ignorant to things simply because you want to hold your opinion, let you know that your opinion can't stand up to any real scrutiny anybody has. I'd be more, instead of calling people names like prostitutes and stuff, come with some real comments. Debate what I gotta say. I would love to debate somebody on all these things and stuff, but that is the reason that we have it. Is a hot button topic about abortion. It is about poverty. It is about control. There are a lot of little things, and it is a throwback, if you will, to traditional values and family values and stuff. Again, time machine. I'm not going anywhere. Not in this country.
I'm gonna say, look, I just had a messenger for our message for our trollers out there. Obviously, they know where to find us, and there's an obvious. You always extend a come to Jesus meeting, if you will, at the end of your show. if they really about what they trying to throw all this mud and stuff on the show and trying to distract us from people really trying to understand our points and views and stuff, we even on my show, man, hey, this is an altar call, bro. Hit us up.
Oh yeah, we ain't going nowhere. We
ain't
here
going nowhere.
every Thursday, 6 p.m.
I just started thinking about the song "Try Jesus." I'm going with Try Jesus.
Oh boy, that's my song.
Don't try me, but
Don't
okay.
try me,
And
bro.
again, you are
throw hands.
entitled to your
Do
opinion.
you throw hands?
You don't, because I throw these hands. Believe me.
Because I fight.
Try Jesus.
Well,
Why
you
don't
know,
you listen to
so-
that one?
And real talk, I'm 6'4", 200 pounds in real life. So you can always roll up and talk to me. I'm like Josie, come and talk to me. I really want to hear you.
And let's put it in perspective. It only takes a small amount of C4 to mess you up, and that's me.
Wow.
It only takes
C4.
a small amount.
Yeah. No,
you ain't got to worry about big fella right there. You ain't got to worry about big fella right there.
You
can try me.
Again, I can't even see the comments, so again, I'm a little hurt. but again, but the topic of this show, I think today, what we're talking about is people who are pro-birth and not pro-life. People who have it are like Burger King; they want to have their way. But when it comes to everybody else, it's not that way, and it doesn't matter what issue it's on. Whether it's women's rights, which are human rights, and those are national conversations, not local conversations. Because locally, in places that minorities are not well represented, what does that mean? Does that mean that we turn back the clock on their rights because they happen to live in a place? And what does that mean? That they have to move from their homes and stuff that they've established in order to go to places where they feel protected? That's what the federal government's job is to make sure that states don't trump or don't walk on Hawthorne. They don't walk on people's their rights and stuff.
They just roll all over them.
They just roll all over them and stuff. So hey, don't tread on me.
Is that your final thought?
That's my final thought.
Lori, final thoughts.
In these trying times, again, I must reiterate, rolling on through it, roll on, that your vote matters, and that you really need to look at your candidate in your local races of where you are, where you live, whether it's in this country or in other ones. You must be active in your participation in voting, because too many of our rights are going away, and it's very scary, but you need to vote. And again, I'm going to say on my last final thought, try Jesus, but don't try me.
Oh boy, look at that smile of a hyena.
That's right.
Stop it, Shanzi. Stop it, Shanzi.
All right, CJ, what you got?
Bruh, look, what's already been said has been said, so I don't want to beat a dead horse with that. I agree with what my brother and my sister said, 100%, especially with the voting, because this is how these things happen. It's because people don't get out to vote. This is how you change a state color from red to blue, from blue to red, or whatever, because of votes. And it starts with your local vote. And brother, I'm just tired, period, with people having their own personal agendas, sneaky agendas, and then hiding behind the veil of Christianity to do their dastardly deeds. Because if their lives were unveiled for all the world to see, we would see just how dirty their lives are. So if you're going to live a certain way, but don't try to tell somebody else how to live. And I'll just end it like that.
All right, fair enough. All right. Me. All those were great points. All right, here we go. So we started the show talking about abortion. And for the longest, we've always thought that abortion was always the end game for the right. And now we're not really sure if it's the end game or if it's just simply the tip of the spear. Are we starting to set a precedent where we can go back and look at other laws that a small but very loud sector of this country doesn't like because it continues to pull them away? Well, why not people wanting to go back in time to when white folks were around white folks, black folks were around black folks, and there were no interminglings? You know, a lot of people may think that once we ended segregation and everybody was around everybody, that's when this whole wokeness started to give birth. White kids don't need to be with black kids. You know, now we don't want that history to be taught because we want our kids to stay proud of their white heritage, and we don't want mixing and things like that. How crazy and how far-fetched is getting rid of interracial marriage? Did you know the state of South Carolina got rid of a ban on interracial marriage in like the last 15 years? It was on their books. It was literally against the law in my lifetime to be in the state of South Carolina and not be able to marry somebody because you are not the same color as they are. For the longest, Democrats, and I'm going to say this, a lot of the things that are happening right now is your fault because you thought you could just sit idly by. And this movement has been gaining steam for years and years and years. All these times when you boo, but you don't vote, all these times when you just sit there and you let your voice not be heard. Now people are out in the middle of the streets in front of the Supreme Court. Hell, now the Democrats have, in the first 48 hours of this leaked document, raised over $7 million in campaign funds. You should have been raising funds to begin with. This should have been an issue a long time ago. We have to get to a point where we have to understand that there is a difference between agreeing with someone's lifestyle and honoring the fact that they have a right to it. Even though, because I love women, God knows I love me a woman. Love them. Did I say I love women? And they love me too. That does not give me the right to tell another man that he can't love another man. Whether my Bible, my Quran, whatever I choose to be, doesn't give me any right to condemn someone else's choices. Because if I don't want to partake in that lifestyle, then I certainly have that right as well. I have as much of a right not to be homosexual as a homosexual has a right to be homosexual. And because I may not want to be homosexual, doesn't mean that I agree with the lifestyle. It just means that it is not my right to condemn it. It is not your right as a Christian to hold up your moral flag of hypocrisy and go around and point to other people and tell them that they're not doing it right. Examine yourself. Pull the plank out your eye, as they say, before you worried about the smallest little thing in somebody else's. Make sure that you're not throwing bricks and you live in a glass house. Ain't that something they say something like that, Christians? That's what this seems like, is that you're going back to a place now where you're ready to start throwing those rocks, but you better make sure that those that are throwing those rocks, it's kind of like Thor. Oh, I'm mixing analogies, but if you ever seen Thor, Thor has his hammer, and you have to be worthy enough to be able to pick it up. Well, when you're sitting there throwing them rocks, I want you to think of it like Thor's hammer. You best make damn sure that you're worthy enough to pick up that rock and throw it before you do so. Because I believe, Christians, that your Bible says when Jesus told these people about stoning, let he without sin throw the first stone. Seemed to me like some of y'all cherry pick parts of the Bible for your own agenda. But I remember the stories of the Bible telling me about a man that said it was better to love people. The greatest commandment was to love your neighbor as yourself. Not kick him, not sit there and restrict their rights. What part of the Bible did you people miss when it talked about love and tolerance? You are the most unloving, intolerant sons of... I don't know what to say. You drive people away from you when you do these things. When you think you are better than everyone else, you show us you are the absolute worst. You're the worst. And for that, the only thing that I can tell you from my loving heart, since you're all Christians, is to turn away from your sins and repent. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Head to Head. I hope y'all walk away with a little love. And if you felt like I stepped on your foot, may you say ouch and be well. And we'll see you again next week. Take care.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta